Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to dig into something that, let's be honest, affects every single one of us, money. We all like to think we're smart, rational people, right? But why do we keep making such weird, illogical decisions with our own wallets? Well, the answers, as you'll see, are pretty surprising. So let's start with a really simple choice you probably make all the time. You get to the checkout, do you use cash or a credit card? You'd think, hey, it's the same money, what's the difference? But it turns out our brains really don't see it that way. And the research here is, well, it's totally clear. When we use a credit card, we don't just buy things, we end up buying more things. We make bigger purchases, we even tip more. It's like we get a little bit of amnesia about how much we're actually spending, because swiping a piece of plastic just doesn't feel the same as handing over actual physical cash. Okay, how about this one? Picture this, you're locked out of your house. Locksmith number 1 shows up, and poof, he gets you in 2 minutes flat. Locksmith number 2, though, he struggles for a whole hour, fumbles around, breaks a couple of his tools, and then has the nerve to charge you more? Who actually provided the better value here? It sounds nuts, but it's true. Most of us would actually feel more satisfied paying the locksmith who took forever. We irrationally reward the person who struggled, who put on a big, clumsy show, over the person with quiet, fast expertise. And these kinds of bizarre choices, they really show a fundamental glitch in how our brains figure out what something is worth. So, why do we do this? Well, it's because our brains almost never think about things in a vacuum. We're built to be comparison machines. We don't really have an internal meter for what something's worth in absolute dollars. We only know its value when we compare it to something else. Take the story of Aunt Susan. She was a die-hard JCPenney shopper. She absolutely loved the thrill of the hunt, the coupons, the big red sale signs. But then the store switched to this new fair and square pricing. Simple, honest, everyday low prices. And even though the final cost was pretty much the same, she felt totally ripped off. She stopped shopping there completely. And this gets right to the heart of it. I mean, look at these 2 shirts. They both cost you $60. But the one on the right just feels like a way better deal, doesn't it? That feeling of getting 40% off, of saving $40, that's so much more satisfying than just paying $60. The comparison to that fake higher price is everything. And you better believe companies have this figured out. This is a classic example from The Economist. Look at that middle option, print only, for $125. Nobody wants that. In the study, 0% of people chose it. It's a decoy. It's a totally useless option. But its job is to make that print and online bundle for the exact same price look like an unbelievable can't-miss deal. And it works. A whopping 84% of people went for it. But this stuff goes deeper than just clever pricing. There's another much more primal force at play here. On a brain level, parting with our money actually causes a sensation that's a lot like physical pain. I'm not kidding. Brain scans show that paying for something lights up the same regions that fire up when we feel actual physical hurt. So, this pain of paying, it's this powerful thing that happens without us even realizing it. We're constantly making choices, not based on getting the most value, but on finding the path that causes the least amount of that immediate ouch during the transaction. Here's a perfect example, the all-inclusive vacation. One of the authors of the book, he prepaid for his entire honeymoon months in advance. So the big, painful payment was way in the past. By the time he and his wife were on the beach, that pain was just a distant memory. So every drink, every meal, every single thing they did felt wonderfully, gloriously free. But then a storm hits and they get rerouted to Miami for a couple of days. Now, all of a sudden, they have to pay for everything as they go. The pain of paying was right there, front and center, with every single purchase. And what happened? They started sharing meals. They skipped the pricey tours. They got super frugal. So you see, same honeymoon, totally different payment setup, and completely different behavior. Okay, and this brings us all the way back to our 2 locksmiths. This whole pain of paying thing helps explain why we'd rather pay for effort, even when it's incompetent effort, than for quiet, invisible expertise. Here's the thing. Expertise is, well, it's invisible. All those years of practice let someone do a really hard job look easy and fast. And since we can't see the years of training, our brain just latches onto the one thing it can see, somebody sweating and trying really hard. So that clumsy locksmith, the one who spends an hour struggling, it feels like he earned his money. We saw the sweat, right? We saw the effort. But the expert, the one who's in and out in 2 minutes, we get suspicious. We think, You're going to charge me that much for just 2 minutes of work? We forget we're not paying for the 2 minutes. We're supposed to be paying for the thousands of hours of training that made those 2 minutes possible. Okay, so if our brains are this easily tricked by relativity and pain and the illusion of effort, isn't there any hope? Are we just doomed to make bad choices? How can we actually start making smarter ones? Well, the book argues there is a tool, and it's probably the most powerful one we have. It's understanding something called opportunity cost. The authors say this is the secret to overriding our brain's faulty wiring. It just means that every time you spend money, you're not just giving up the cash. You are giving up all the other things you could have bought or done with that money instead. But here's the catch. We are terrible at this. Just awful. Researchers went to a car dealership and asked people buying a Toyota, hey, what are you giving up to buy this car? And you know what they said? The only answer they could think of was, well, I guess I'm not buying a Honda. They couldn't make the mental leap that that same money could be years of vacations or paying off a huge chunk of student debt. And this is the real key. We have to train ourselves to stop thinking in abstract dollars and start thinking in concrete life experiences. That bigger, more expensive house, it isn't just a number on a mortgage statement. It is a choice. It's the decision to give up family vacations for the next 10 years or a semester of college for your kid. When you frame it like that, the choice suddenly becomes a lot more real, doesn't it? And that quote, really, it just says it all. Our financial common sense is often complete nonsense. Our instincts about money are just not built for the modern world. So the first and most important step to getting better with money is to just accept that, to question your own gut feelings, and to take a second to think about what your dollars are really buying.